You're listening to The Parallel Paths, a podcast designed to elevate your mind, body, and spirit so that you can get everything you want out of life. The only question is, are you ready?
Do you have a business or looking to start one? Establishing your online presence is key. Bluehost makes it quick and easy to get your website up and going, making it an ideal solution for beginners with its fast loading speeds and variety of features. Powering over 2 million websites, Bluehost offers a full range of hosting services, SEO, and much more, all at budget-friendly prices. Sign up today for web hosting as low as $3.95 per month. Click our link in the show notes for instant access to this incredible deal.
Welcome back to the Parallel Paths podcast. I'm your co-host, Makita Moore.
And I'm your co-host, Blair McClendon.
Yes, and we are back again. This is season 2 of the Parallel Paths podcast, with the whole season dedicated to how we can heal the Black community. We've already talked about self-love, and we talked about Black on Black violence. Blair, what are we talking about today?
Today we'll be talking about ownership versus being owned, per se.
Ownership versus being owned. So when you think about ownership, what comes to mind when you
ownership for me is whether that be owning your own business, owning land, property, just literally, I guess, having whatever it is that you're doing under your complete control.
And the issue for the Black community, despite how brilliant we are, despite how a lot of this country is built upon the things that we've created, the fact that we have the greatest amount of influence culturally, despite having all of that, we don't really own a lot of stuff. And I was talking to Blair earlier about how certain things are marketed to the Black community, but they're not really our stuff. So, we were talking like Uncle Ben's and Aunt Jemima. Right. Every Black person I know grew up consuming both of those products, the syrup and then the rice and the beans and all that stuff. I always thought that those were products owned by us. But through exploration, I come to find out that those aren't. Those, like, they just paid those models for that so they could continue to market to us, our community, but we weren't really benefiting anything from it.
Yeah, another prime example is like Cantu hair products. Like, you go into the ethnic hair section of like a Target or a Walmart or whatever, and you see Cantu, Shea Moisture, and all these other things. But Cantu specifically is like African style print, very much so marketed as a Black-owned product, even though it's not. So that's one thing I would definitely encourage all of our listeners to do, is just look a little bit deeper into the companies that you're buying or putting your money into. I personally like supporting Black-owned businesses when I get the opportunity to, especially small businesses like myself. So whether it's like health and beauty products or stuff for hair or whatever it is, I'm always trying to find somebody that looks like me, that has the same type of hair as me. All that type of stuff goes into a factor when I'm buying certain things. So just be on the lookout for that stuff.
Yeah, and it might take a little bit more work and research to find Black-owned products, but ultimately, if we're not investing in our community, we're constantly dependent on someone else to keep us fed. Right. And we will never be able to develop the level of independence. And with that independence comes that power and the right to make your own decisions. So as long as we keep paying other people, we're never going to have decision-making power. We're always going to kind of be taking the crumbs or receiving less than what we desire and what we deserve. But until we can start telling people what we deserve by showing the value of our community, by us being the first ones to invest into our community, then no one else is going to give us that value. So even if it takes extra time, buy Black owned. Like, the shirt I have on, this is my Get Money shirt, Black owned, right?
Black on.
Right. And
It's,
and I think an important part of us addressing this issue is understanding where it comes from. My background is of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and if you haven't heard about the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, this was the wealthiest Black community in the nation at the time, and they came in and just bombed, blew this shit up, tore it down, again, as a way to instill that fear that no matter how good you try to become, we're going to tear you down. And over time, the more they do that, we kind of get this learned helplessness, so we just kind of stop trying, or we'll try to be a little bit more quiet, But I think that, especially now, the way things are now, this is really our time to really step back into that space of ownership, and showing how great we are, and not letting these threats scare us and deter us from continuing to pursue that level of ownership in our community.
For sure. I mean, you hit on a few things that are key, but definitely circulating dollars back into your community. You look at the Asian communities and stuff like that and how strong they are, and it's because they support each other's businesses. It's very rare that they spend outside of their community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to have that same type of approach, especially right now when trying to rebuild everything and get our own version of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if anybody's listened to the new Big Sean album, he's got a song in there called Down Life. And it's like basically a skit at the beginning and end where he talks about how much singers, rappers, entertainers, athletes are being paid pennies on the dollar. So we might celebrate them getting these multi-million-dollar contracts, but it's like, well, dang, if he's worth that much, how much is he actually worth to that owner? Because the owner's still recouping billions. Mm-hmm. And when you value their franchise and stuff like that, the property that the stadium sits on, the actual stadium or arena, all that stuff plays dividends into their wallet. But the players aren't really getting this. The players are who built that. So it gets deep, even with music and the entertainers on that side, their contract space. Again, like Sean said, being paid pennies to sing. Like, it's insane how little money we're actually getting compared to our worth. Mm-hmm. And that's where the key of ownership comes back into play. If you don't own your stuff, frankly, you are owned. So you have to get your own in this day and age. It's too many talents and stuff that we hold that can be monetized.
Mm-hmm. And I think in order for us to do that, it's going to require both patience and loyalty. Like, yes, that Black-owned product, it might not seem as good as that other product because it didn't have the resources, but over time, if you continue to invest into that product, it'll, meet that same standard. But now you're doing something greater, which is investing into your community. You're giving your people a fighting chance. So it does take being patient and allowing those products to reach the level they're at. One thing I love about what Tyler Perry does is that he creates media, like movies and television shows that cater towards those actors who are a little bit more trained and experienced. And then he also creates shows for those new and upcoming actors too. That way they can still get paid, and that money can be invested into them over time. And eventually they'll become those better actors and actresses. But a lot of other people say, nah, we're not going to open up opportunities for you all. But he's creating these opportunities, and his workers are, Black. He's doing. I feel like he's doing a great job of educating and uplifting and really just circulating that dollar within the Black community. And now we see where he is. He's very successful now. So I think we need to look for that.
I was truly inspired just by his vision, based upon his new studios in Atlanta. Like, I saw the Architectural Digest episode, and his vision is crazy. So just to see the work that was done on that property, it's inspiring. My only knock, and the only thing I would wish was different, is the narrative and like some of the stories that he pushes. Like to me, it's some of the like stereotypical Black stuff, and to me, it could be a different message that lifts us up even higher.
Hey, Parallel Podcast listeners, don't forget to check out our own personal brands. If you're looking to learn more about mindfulness, mindset, and meditation, catch me live on Instagram every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or schedule a free one-on-one consult with me. All that information is in the link in my bio at Makita Smiles. Also, if you're looking for anything health and wellness related, check out Blair's Instagram at 3Layers of Wellness for links to his website and resources. And for all my Floridians, don't forget to check out bonafidefla.com. That's bonafidefla.com for all things Florida. You can find all of this information in the show notes as well. Now back to the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I know I was listening to, and I do like. It seems like there is more of a trend, noticeable trends. I know rappers and entertainers, they've been talking about business for some time. Like Master P, like he's always kind of been on that. But I feel like
The
now
GOAT when it come to that.
I feel like now is definitely becoming a lot more cooler. Like a lot of these newer artists, like we saw, what was the young guy who came out talking about the Travis Scott burgers, trash, don't eat that. It's like this new rapper.
In Elite Chopper.
Yeah. Like they're
I
talking
think
about
he's
how
like 17. That's crazy.
yeah, like
That's
Big
wild.
Sean.
But he gets it though. So like I have to salute the young ones for that, because that's one thing I will give the youth. They're a lot more aware and conscious of what's going on than most. So it's just I don't think that they necessarily may know how to direct that energy or harness it in certain ways, but they know what's going on.
Yeah. And I think we did take that drive and that youthful energy and continue to educate and put out more representation. So like these kids need to know that, yeah, you can go out there and sell weed. At the same time, you could also be doing something else that's gonna like maybe create a t-shirt. It's so easy to create a t-shirt and sell that t-shirt. Do something like, put your favorite, quote or your favorite motto on a shirt and allow it to have a positive impact at the same time. Like there's the hustler, the creative, it's embedded in our blood. We just got to put it to use. And then once we start putting it to use and we catch traction, we can't sell it for what seems like a temporary profit. But ultimately, we could have made millions, billions on it if we would have kept it under our own ownership versus, sending it off to somebody else for them to leverage it and make it bigger. We had to respect our own creations and keep those within our community.
Yeah, for sure. And even that's one thing we're doing upcoming with Bonafide FLA and the collective is actually helping people get their businesses started and putting out some different blueprints and giving people some sauce on how to get this stuff going. Because I'm sure it's a ton of people who have ideas and who wanted to start a business, but it can be overwhelming. Like it's a lot of information out there that you have to sift through, a lot of research that needs to be done. So I mean, that's one thing I'm definitely passionate about and one thing I love helping people with. So again, upcoming, we'll be doing some more stuff with that too, but I'm all about trying to have everybody eat. So this is an abundant world we live in. I keep emphasizing that. I'm gonna keep saying it. I've driven from coast to coast in the US. It's a lot of vacant land. It's a lot of vacant everything. And with the right resources and right knowledge, everybody could be growing their own food and be living self-sustained lives. And it'd be a lot cheaper. You're not going through the headache and the rat race and the same monotony that you go through every day. Could be a totally different life. It's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, and I'm glad you emphasize the whole abundance thing, because I feel like that's another issue that trips us up in Black business, is that it becomes too competitive and we feel like, oh, we're fighting for the same line. No, like there's room for everybody at the table.
Right.
And then that also is what leads to some of that Black on Black violence, is that jealousy. But just because somebody else is making it doesn't mean you can't make it. And sometimes we have to admit that, okay, I feel a little vulnerable because we are competing and maybe your product is better than mine. But not hating on that person, not feeling like the way to elevate your own product is to tear that one person down. things
Right.
like that. So again, it comes down to that self-love, which is recognizing your power, recognizing your influence, the self-love and loving your community, to know that by you investing in yourself, investing in your product, is investing into your community and supporting one another along that journey of building products, networking, telling, I'm so quick to always post someone else's product on my page, just because it's like, why would I not want someone else to win? They took the time to, and were, courageous enough to create a product. Like, why would I not support that?
Yeah. I definitely have to commend you on that. I appreciate all the support you always give me. But I mean, just everybody in general who you share stuff for, like it's good to see. And I mean, that's definitely something that I'm trying to do more of, and like get people around me to do more of, is just continue to share each other's stuff. Like any support helps. Likes, shares, subscribes, all that stuff adds up. And we have to do it as a community. I think that's one thing, again, it kind of goes back to programming and kind of what's embedded in our DNA from past generations. But this competition stuff is fake. Like it's plenty for everybody to eat. And that competitive nature, while bred into us, even as an ex-athlete, you have that competitive drive. So of course the competitive drive is there, and the way to utilize it is use it against yourself. You are your own worst enemy. So the only person you're really competing against is yourself. So challenge yourself to be better every day. And in doing that, you don't have time for the negative energy to be hating on somebody else's project or what their product is doing. You're only focused on yourself and bettering the things within you and around you.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Let's see, anything else we haven't touched on as far as ownership? Is
generational wealth. I think that's a big thing too. Owning something and building for the future is huge. The Black community as a whole, we're several steps behind others when it comes to this. So I think that's one thing in one area that needs to be addressed. But
and
ownership
also,
is a step in that direction.
and I would say on ownership, it doesn't have to be some amazing, out of this world idea. Like, you
Right.
could literally start a mattress company. You could literally start a carpeting company, like little small things like that, toilets.
Smaller than that. It's people that sell screws.
Yeah.
Like literally screws that you would, or nails.
Yeah.
And you're making millions. So like, don't limit yourself. There's so much stuff around you. I was even looking on, I think it was eBay. It was a course I took a couple years ago. People literally will gather tree bark and straw. This is stuff that's just laying around on the earth. They bundle it nice and then they end up selling it. Or people gathering seashells at the beach. Like, the idea doesn't have to be anything, like Makita said, astronomical. Like, it's plenty around.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, what do you have a connection with?
Yeah. And it comes from, like, you'll see these opportunities once you believe that they're there. Once you recognize, okay, I can be a business person. I can have my own business. I can create a job for myself that generates money. But I think a part of it is like, we've been programmed to believe that we have to work for other people. That, you work for a company, you work your way up, eventually, you get this, and maybe you could be the owner of that company, but no, why not start your own? And I see value in working for a company. That way you can learn the system, but your ultimate goal should be working for yourself, that, and then from there, you can create jobs for your entire family. They can work for you until they can get to the place where they can work on their own. But ultimately, as long as that dollar is being circulated within the Black community and you're working for people who are genuinely invested in your growth and evolution, that's what it comes down to. Because at the end of the day, if you're working for somebody who's not Black, at the end of the day, they're going to be looking out for their community. They're not looking out for your community, So that is episode 3 of the Parallel Paths podcast. This episode is all about ownership, circulating that Black dollar, and just really doing what we can to bring more economic power into our community. It's going to require patience. It's going to require trust and loyalty. But that is the ultimate goal, is for us to really become the power that we are.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. You hit on it. Trust and loyalty. I think one misconception is that friends and family can't work together. A lot of people tell you not to work with friends and family, but if it's the right friend and the right family member who is on your same wavelength and thinks how you're thinking, has that same vision and end goal as you, that's the best partner that you could have. So that's one myth I'm here to dispel too. Shout out to my business partners. They know who they are, but those are friends, and no dollar is going to come between us. So you got to also have somebody around you that's not greedy. And a lot of times that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap this episode up by shouting out to all the Black owned businesses that we have represented right here. So this is my Get Money shirt. Oops, this side. Black owned business, as well as this bracelet that I'm wearing. I Speak Dreams into Existence, Wealthy Minds Academy, Billionaire PA. We will put these in the show notes. And Blair, you want to shout out the companies you are representing as well?
Yep, I'm wearing Bonafide FLA, handle right there on the screen, and the Tiger's Eye that I'm wearing. This is from Healing Earth Remedies, so I'll put their link in the show notes as well.
Awesome. All right, sending all y'all peace and love. Until next time, keep being amazing, keep being magical, and love yourself and love one another.
Yes, sir. Peace, love, and light, family.